Is it the email list?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it?
yeah.
There was an email list.
This is
So,
what-
yeah, the legislation list isn't
You're
online.
not supposed to print the stuff out, right?
No, you have to go to that.
This is what they can do for that meeting. You were online.
Usually they have.
Thank you for not telling me anything, because I didn't think I was there at all.
Oh, this is 2 pages. This is, and.
Yeah.
If I can find it.
We are unmuted.
Yeah, Alyssa sent us a list, I think actually.
On
yesterday,
Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it normally as a copy.
Yeah, Friday,
My bad,
2:03.
baptized.
All right. Okay, calling this meeting of the Democratic Caucus of the Kingston Common Council to order at 7:01 here on 7/31, July 31st, 2023. We have close to 20 items to look at. Some are easy, some are exciting. And so we can start. A number of these are coming out of course, finance. So we'll go through those in case folks are not clear. And then some of them are coming out of laws and rules. So we'll want to look at those too.
But either Michelle chairs that one, so she could arrive to call
Well,
out.
they're actually in two different laws and rules meetings.
The first one.
Some of them are from
Around that.
June. We
Oh,
passed
yeah,
them
you're
in
right.
June.
Uh-huh.
And then the last one that Michelle chaired,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so the first one, resolution 124, is a transfer in the fire department to utilize funds in the mental health, from the mental health grant. This has zero financial impact. We also spoke recently with the chief, who's saying that this program is going really well. So we're excited about what's happening there. Any questions about that? Everybody on board with that? Okay, 125. This is also in the fire department. This is going to be a transfer of $62,652.88 from contingency to cover the expense of retirement accumulation. And so we are work that our fire folks have done. I think this is just for one person. Yeah. Everybody okay with that one?
Yes.
That's for two employees. All right. Okay, 126 is a similar item, but in the police department, $39,000 from contingency to cover the expense of retirement accumulation and resignations.
I have a question, because I was sick at the finance meeting, so I didn't
Yep.
make it. Does that mean, because I know that was for 3 people leaving. And I
Two
know
resignations.
2 resignations and retirement.
Yeah.
So does that add on to, remember when he was here, the chief, since he was here for public safety?
Yeah.
Saying that they were already short, does this make them even shorter staffed?
Yeah.
So what are they down to? What are they down
I
to?
think they-
71?
I think he had said 3 under, so 6 under now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I could be wrong about that. He wasn't here
Right.
to present on it.
You sure it isn't 4? 3 resignations and a retirement?
I thought,
It was the 2
2
resignations.
resignations.
I think that these were known before he was
Okay.
public safety, because I did know about these before, but I wasn't at that meeting.
I thought you said it in the.
no, it actually is 3 resignations.
It is? Oh, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Retirement of Ernie Osterhout, resignations of Officer,
Oh, 2 officers.
Lab Officer Hazard, and Detective Schumer.
Big hit, that's 4.
Yeah.
You're right, he was down 2 before,
At the 2
2 or 3.
I think he
What's
went
his
to Kipsy. That's what I had heard.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right,
That
so
was surprising.
everybody clear on that one? Everybody good with spending that money that way? All right, 127 has 0 financial impact. This is city support for a Trans Art Grant from the NEA to support the annual Pinkster celebration in 2024.
Good.
Good with that. All right. 128, changes to the 2023 fee schedule. These are all related to the adoption of the new zoning code. Now, for some reason in our packet, there's only one little box of these fees. If you want to see the full retinue of fees, you can look at the agenda for the Finance Committee from July 12th. And there you will see at page 37, the whole series of fees that we're looking at. So for example, there would be 3 levels of short-term rental registration fees: short-term rental full, $650, short-term rental limited, $125, short-term rental limited, resident occupied, $125. So if everybody's okay with those fees, we can go on with that. And we had some discussion about perhaps increasing them.
Do you want me to discuss?
Sure.
Okay, I just, I'm of the belief, so originally when Bartek presented the fee schedule for short-term rentals to us, a full home year-round fee would be $500. And my feeling is that some of the larger full home short-term rentals could make that in a night. And it's, operating as basically a small hotel. And we'll have about 200 right now, and we need to have some shifting around so they get them down to 100, but that number can still grow as it will be 1% of total units that are in the city. So the up to 30-day fee is $150. So I felt that the fee should be 12 times that for the full. Yeah, so Bartek felt that he stated that he looked around at other communities and, 650 would be, a little high compared to other communities, but I'm of the feeling that we have a real housing crisis here. If it chases short-term rentals away because our fee is high, then I think
And right now,
it's not a negative.
500.
We went up to 650,
650.
So it's currently.
so it's 6 times the 150 fee.
Mhm.
So you would want to double it.
6 times 125. So, right. And then there was discussion about, there's the usual question of how does it stack up against other precedent, other communities. And so Bartek was saying at 650 it was a bit high. And then I'm not sure if we pull in a number that's completely off the charts, whether that opens up the possibility of some kind of lawsuit or whatever, I don't know. But so, Michelle pushed hard for increasing it. And I think there is some validity in that argument. The other issue there, though, would be that we also, every year, we review the fees. And so we could look and see what's happening. And actually, we have our upcoming budget season. So that might be a time very soon without waiting a year to look at that number. So that's another option. But if folks want to go for a higher number, you need to organize that now.
I'm thinking. I get definitely where you're coming from. Has anyone heard of anyone, like, saying anything in regards to the fee?
I have not heard anything.
No, it hasn't exactly hit the front page.
Well, I mean, it's been in the meetings, right? And usually people are-
Yeah, there's been 2 meetings that
I-
have come up.
Yeah, I haven't heard any comments from constituents, that's what you're, yeah. I haven't.
I mean, they're gonna be more upset with a complete ban than they are
Absolutely.
with a fee.
The fact that you revisited soon has some attraction to get it on the books and then revisit. Feels to me also.
Barbara?
Sorry.
I was just wondering if in the materials that you have now, if there's any data on the relationship between the costs to the city for actually administering the short-term rental enforcement method procedures? Because it seems like you should be also considering the relationship between the cost to the city and the actual fee that's being charged.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah,
I
we
don't,
didn't have that.
yeah, I mean, I know Bartek's gotten some new software and things like that, but we have not been presented a breakdown of that.
Right, because if the enforcement is going to be high and, that gives us more argument to make the fee.
Well, there should be some relationship.
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out if the discussion is going to sort of go beyond what he thought was a high fee to make sure that you will have information that you would need to evaluate whatever number you want to look at.
Did he give any more information on the 650 figure besides just saying it was higher? Did he say which municipalities did do the
He
650?
didn't say specifically, but he looked at municipalities that are, along our
Equal
on our
size?
side, yeah. So perhaps then the median approach here would be approve it as it is, but let Steve Knox know that when he comes in for his budget session, that we're going to be looking for this kind of information, what's it actually costing? And then that would also give us time to amass other information.
Right, because I would like, I would support a full-time zoning enforcement officer just for short-term rentals, because I think that, I mean, Hudson's doing that, the situation over there, it's requiring that, a specific dedicated person. And, Steve Knox was looking to bring our not full-time zoning enforcement person up to full-time, so.
He's
I'm just
not-
saying, yeah, so I just think.
So it'd be
he
half
would too,
full-time,
like,
so
you
it'd
know,
be half
and
person.
so, yeah.
Yeah, but that, it may not even, I don't know if that's specifically on just short-term rental. It could be
Doing all kinds of.
all kinds of things, and already the position is like,
You're already overwhelmed.
yeah, enforcement
I would
is.
be in favor of bringing somebody in, because we're gonna need.
I approached Steve and asked him
I mean,
to present
history
to us.
tells us that we have
Yeah.
problem with enforcement.
Well, what I could do too would be to send him a note and say, when you come before us, we're thinking you need another person. When and tell him when he's talking with the mayor, that we've gotten in touch with him so that he should be advocating for.
And just as a reminder, I mentioned this at our last caucus, but Steve Knox is coming to our September public safety to give his report. So it'll be really, really good as we head into zoning to come prepared for that meeting and ask questions. And, maybe we could even gather some questions ahead of time to give to him so he's best prepared. But a lot of this stuff I think will be really helpful to.
How you gonna enforce this?
I was gonna say, we say enforcement and company about making sure we have cycle time.
Will pay or aren't, running, short-term rentals where there shouldn't be, or if people are now allowed to
So
have
what doesn't exist right
ADUs. What doesn't it,
The enforcement of like making sure people are.
it just started,
Okay.
and
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
now
But
we're
with the
just
zoning code,
change,
it's not
it's gonna need to play, I mean, I think that people, this is in other places, like this weekend, there was, it discovered and was shut down in, the city, New York City, like short-term rentals in vans, like driving around with the same license plate. They're always finding ways to skirt.
And we
the
know
system.
when we know it's happening here already, because we know there are
More than there.
200 and we're not getting fees for 200.
And then we're gonna have ADUs, and we're banning them in ADUs, so I wanna make sure that no one's doing that.
Yeah, we're actually banning that.
Yeah, people are making $500 a week in Airbnbs.
Let's drop it. Okay.
Like, I'm like, wow. Yeah,
That's,
Right.
blows my mind.
but it's true.
I know it is, but it blows my mind.
Then are we good on this approach then for tomorrow night?
We
pass as is.
We pass it as it is. I'll email Steve Knox, letting him know what we've talked about. And then we'll make sure that both in September and then at the budget meetings, we push him to find out what's the actual cost of inspections relating to and fees relating to short-term rentals. So we can think about perhaps hiring half-time or full-time person to take care of those issues.
Yeah, I know the department has their, this is budget season, we're just entering budget season, so yeah, sending that email would be helpful so he has a heads up on what we're looking for.
Yep. Okay. All right, then we'll do
129. 129.
Yeah. Who is not Elizabeth? Who's there tonight?
Kwame.
Oh. Hey, Kwame. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I would appreciate if somebody in the clerk's office would add the pages from the finance committee agenda, pages 37 and 38 at least, to the materials for the full common council that we got, because it's missing the actual numbers, the actual fee costs that we're looking at adding. And I think it should be in those materials.
Okay, I'm making note of that so we can add that in.
Great, thank you.
You got it.
All right, item resolution 129 is the transfer of money in the corporation council's department to cover shortfalls. This will have zero financial impact. Assuming we're all good with that. 130, transfer of $5,347.31 in the city clerk's office to reconcile accounts. This will require $3,407.31 from contingency. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. 131 has a $10,000 financial impact to cover unforeseen expenses in plumbing repairs at City Hall. We should talk to these guys.
It's a mess down there,
Yeah.
so we've been into Lisa's office.
Yeah, I saw Lisa's office, it's really horrible.
Okay. Good, so I believe we're all in favor of having working plumbing. 132 is transfer of $57,128 in the planning department to cover the expense of staffing levels. This will have an actual financial impact of $48,946. And this is in preparation for the new zoning code and related increases in planning department work. You okay with that? If I remember correctly, part of it is moving Kyla to full time. Yes.
It's person and a half, right?
What's that?
No, it's going from half-time to full-time.
Yeah.
If that's what that is, or ends
Yeah,
another
there's someone
position,
else.
another position at part-time,
I know.
or we did, it seems like a number, but.
Yeah.
133 has zero financial impact. It's moving money in the Office of Community Development for shredding, as well as Notary Republic renewal fees. 134, we're starting now to get into items that come from law and rules relating to changing the zoning plan. So this is about section 405.19, affordable housing standards of the Kingston Forward Form-Based Code.
So these three were the three that we separated, and we did, Lisa and I put these in the order, so the zoning, the full zoning code would be after these, so the 134, 5, and 6 are the three from 2 laws and rules meetings ago.
Should you do finding statement first?
We
Before
discussed that, yeah.
I would think you do the
Yeah.
finding statement before these. Because these are an offshoot of the zoning code, and if someone's gonna challenge them on an environmental basis, the fact that you didn't do your finding before you did it is one thing.
I don't,
I don't know, Counselor, what do you think?
I thought we discussed
Are we talking about just the order that the vote's
I'm
taken?
talking about whether you do your finding statement before you adopt the code and the piece of the code.
well, it's before the code. It's before this is not before the three little buckets.
I'm defer to council.
I don't think this makes a dramatic difference one way or another. I understand your point, that there's a logic to what you're proposing, but, video, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
They still all would have to be signed by the mayor, like after you vote on it anyway, so it's
Yeah.
not.
Okay, I'm just,
I mean, we could dance it around on the floor, but if folks are uncomfortable, I'm personally not
I'm
uncomfortable with
okay,
it.
I'm okay with
But-
this, yeah.
Okay, yeah, 134 then is the affordable housing standards. And this is another one where, Kwame, the council report says that there's an addendum, but it's not actually in the materials that we received.
Okay.
If you're looking at in the council legislation version, this is at page 49, where that's missing. All right, then there's
Okay,
one other thing, Kwame. The next one, item resolution 135, it should be adoption of 405.16. The one above is 405.19.
Okay.
Is it wrong in the legislation list only, or is it wrong in the?
It's wrong in the legislation list.
It's wrong in the committee, because the legislation list is not a huge deal, but it is, if it's wrong on the committee.
The resolution for it is 405, which one? You might be talking about the one with the addendum?
No, the one after that.
131 after that.
135.
The one about parking.
405.16.
So it's just the legislation list that's wrong,
Okay.
so not a huge deal, but.
Yeah, the committee report is correct.
The committee report's correct and the resolution is correct. Legislation
Yeah,
is
the
just
resolution
for our
is correct. Okay.
reference.
Okay,
Otherwise, we should probably fix the spelling of adopting.
and a couple other words. All right, then. Okay, so first off, did we read?
Question.
Go ahead.
I don't see, I thought we were gonna put language in here about a task force. I don't,
Yeah, at the bottom,
it is, all right, it just,
It should be.
the parking task force.
no, the housing.
The housing task
It says
force?
that the director of housing will monitor.
I did not see legislation specifically relating to
I
a
know.
parking task force. There's one about parking task.
Wasn't it in July where, maybe I'm getting mixed up, but I thought that.
It was-
You approved.
Oh, maybe I have an older version.
I'm sorry?
Maybe I have an older version. It just says June.
So it was in June's laws and rules meeting. That's the language that we had wanted, was to have form the task force, but then we tabled it at July's council meeting.
Am I looking at the wrong version? This was.
I thought it was
Maybe it was
voted
added
out.
to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
because this was from laws and rules and we
Okay.
added it at
Okay.
that meeting.
Okay.
But I will double check to make sure
Okay.
that it was on there, because that's the meeting that we added it.
Okay, great.
So it was June's rules, and this wasn't voted on as part of the reserve account?
No, we had tabled all of these.
No, I mean even before these, because remember, the council approved Bartek's affordable housing budget line. And I thought there was something about the working group in connection with that, but maybe I missed.
I thought it was on this one, but I'll double check.
Okay. If it needs to be corrected, how would you like to proceed? Like circulate a draft before tomorrow and then you guys
And then have it on
who's going
yeah.
to do it before?
I'm off in the morning, so I'll be in touch.
Okay. Sounds good.
Then I want to make sure, so 134, is everybody okay with adopting the affordable housing standards? Who's good with that? Okay. 135 is then the off-street parking standards. Is everybody good with that one?
Yes. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. 136, adopting section 405.21, D-2 of the Kingston Forward Form-Based Code on the regulation of short-term rentals, creating 3 short-term rental permits and limiting full short-term permits to more than 1% of the city's long-term housing stock. Pretty clear on that and good with that. Any questions on that one? If any of you were not at the meeting where it was discussed. Yes, we're good? Okay. 137 is the finding statement for the Kingston Forward citywide rezoning. We're all good with that then?
Yes.
Okay. And then 138 is the big schmear, adopting the Kingston Forward-based code. We're good to go with that.
Yes.
Yes, good, okay. 139, authorizing funding and establish a capital project for design and engineering PFA safe railroad crossing in the vicinity of the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club. This has 0 financial impact. It's a pass-through grant for design purposes. Everybody okay with that? And I believe you may have received something from Phil Erner talking about the possibility of trying to reintroduce passenger service on the west side train lines. I think that's a great idea, but I think that because it would require congressional action, is so far off in the future that we should not slow down on this possibility in the near future. Item 140, authorizing waiving the fee for active military service members to purchase a marriage license. Good with that? Okay. 141 is the item that we were talking about before, relating before the caucus started with the union reps. This is the repeal of the requirement for graduation from apprenticeship programs in construction. So what are we going to do with this?
And you know how I feel strongly about letting this pass tomorrow, and I feel equally as strongly as finding a resolution that will work to strengthen the apprenticeship program, that will work for all, that will hurt the city financially. I think, yeah, I brought this forward because I really believe that this is hindering us. And I don't want to hinder us any further, but I understand that there are open questions, you know, from the council. So my idea with, one last thing, my idea with repealing it was not to then just wash the hands, is to kind of find some kind of solution that will work.
Okay. So,
And then we appeal this, then we go back to the original version.
Yes, it's just, this is repealing the resolution 204, which is only the amendment.
Right,
So we're not repealing the apprenticeship program.
right.
it's just the
Okay, so that's-
requirement of
And that-
30% graduation.
Graduation.
And that was
The requirement of
2012, I believe, so it was the apprenticeship program for 10 years before we made the amendment.
Mhm.
Right.
And, you know, some of the people talking, they were apprentices before and during that program, not since the amendment. If they're talking about already
Right, so
graduating.
repealing this is not going to
So-
hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, we're still gonna have apprenticeships, we still have a program, we're just trying to find a solution that could work for everybody, but I feel passionate about it. I won't cry myself to sleep. If you guys feel passionate the other way,
Oh,
maybe not.
I'm just wondering, that 30%, then we would have to come up with another percentage then that's going to work for everyone. That's what I'm hearing. Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's just the amendment, the 30% that we're worried about or that we're talking about. But we have to put some number in here if we're going to.
My understanding is we're taking away the requirement that they meet a graduation rate.
Okay. So
Okay,
it's
so
just
I know there's an apprentice program requirement, it has a requirement in it that they meet a certain graduation.
Right, so we're taking that.
We're taking that away,
Okay.
so that they just have an apprentice program that isn't tied to a graduation rate.
Right.
So the union guys over here are saying, it should be tied to a graduation rate because they're fearful that the ones that aren't legit. That's their fear. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, I think,
But so the county passed some legislation in a similar vein. I think what we need to do is look at that. So perhaps the thing to do would be tomorrow night would be to go ahead and if folks are amenable to repealing this and going forward, we repeal it, but 1, 2, or 3 of us make it very clear or even have, so Reed, if you felt comfortable saying that we're going to bring this up at, we're looking for a solution, a resolution. So we're going to, do that starting at the next laws and rules meeting. So that the folks in the audience are clear that it's not getting swept under the rug.
Okay.
Why can't we just go back to committee? It's just a couple of weeks.
I'm
Yeah.
with going back to committee.
Because we have some grave concerns about the financial costs to the city. We've got a couple of, for example, there's some bids that are coming up relating to the Deed Stadium. We got,
The Deed Stadium has a PLA. So these things are not going to affect
that's done. Okay, all right.
that deal is made already with apprenticeships and, all the stuff that goes with the project labor agreement. So that's just.
So sending it back.
But I don't know if they're, sorry.
I was just gonna say, sending it back to committee, is that's not going to hurt the city and what we don't have any funding.
Well, we don't
We
know.
don't know, but we don't
That could be a good question. I could try if you want me to find out and let you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So then if the majority of folks are interested in sending it back to committee, somebody has to make the motion, somebody has to agree to second.
I'll make the motion.
Michelle will make the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
You're gonna have a challenge tomorrow. There's gonna be I suspect from what they're saying, they'll bring friends tomorrow night to our meeting.
I can have.
Oh, no. Timeline.
Yeah, so what happens is there is a 30-minute window. I give them 3 minutes and I do ask them to stop. After the end of the 30 minutes, I'll open it up to see if you all want to extend it, which we have every other time. So.
I think all of them are going to talk.
I think a lot of them.
Do we have a policy on giving your time to somebody else?
What do you mean?
To yield.
And yield to others?
Yeah, because Mike has said that's what they've done before, so that.
Not here.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I'll check the rules, but I think we designed it so that wouldn't happen, if I remember correctly.
That's what I remember.
I mean, we don't,
I mean, I'm going to sit on this one.
we just don't have the staff to really manage something like,
And they can make.
I'll reread the rules, but I'll reread the rules, you see. And I guess,
When we put the motions and send it back to committee, we can also make it clear that we're not scrapping this, that we are continuing to work on.
And, yeah, Dina from yeah, and have more data to analyze.
Right.
Yeah, but the vote comes after them speaking, so the question is, how long are they going to speak? I got the impression some of them thought we were getting rid of the apprenticeship program.
Yeah,
They didn't understand what it is.
yeah.
I think that what may have led to that was they understood the communication end, but it didn't have the original legislation that was passed, the resolution. So.
So all they saw was.
They just heard
Yeah.
repeal, right? Yeah.
That's why it doesn't really make sense, because they're talking about the apprenticeship and how successful it's been. It's been successful
Previous,
this
prior to this.
amendment.
Right.
So I'm still,
So I think you're right, whoever said that there might be some misunderstanding as to what.
that's why I don't think moving forward with this resolution is a bad idea. Because I think there's, just like what they were saying, talking about how successful it's been. It was
Right.
successful prior to the amendment.
I just don't think it's any less different than just to send it back. It's like,
Repeal.
yeah.
It gives them a chance to read it, it gives them a chance to understand what we're doing. Yeah,
Yeah, so can we just make sure that that's also in the agenda packet for, if it gets sent back in the next laws and rules, so that's.
Do you have time to call the 2 missing members tomorrow to let them know about this?
Actually, no, because I'm taking my dad to a doctor.
Who were they?
It's Carl and Steve.
Okay, I'll call. They're both planning on being here tomorrow.
Yes, as far as I know.
Morning, Carl.
Mhm.
Let him know.
Okay. Good on that one. And then 142 is regarding amending the common council rules to add a rule that all background materials must be publicly available to the extent practicable 48 hours before all committee meetings.
So you're all aware this is because this is amending our council rules, we need a supermajority vote.
We are a supermajority.
Actually, with the zoning code,
yeah.
we need a supermajority. I meant to say that earlier. Because we are not taking all the recommendations from the planning board, both Ulster County and the city of Kingston. So because of that, we need a supermajority, and it's a supermajority of the full council.
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
So it's 6.
So
it's everybody.
it's everybody.
So who?
So show up. When Carl was like, I can't be a caucus, I'm like, fine, but you were going to be there.
So, then whose job will it be to monitor, rather to see if we're getting stuff in 48 hours prior to whatever we are voting on or reviewing?
I think it'll be up to chairs of committees and perhaps the
And,
president.
well, yeah, because
say-
any department
Because it comes to you first. Well, it doesn't come
It
to you
comes
first.
to me, but not all the supporting document is there. So sometimes I'll get a communication and it will say, I'll send to the department level that I'll send in the supporting documentation. And that's where the problem with, that Michael was having. It's just, a lot of us have full-time jobs and it's a lot to read through even without a full-time job. But there is something in that rule that says that they can reach out to me and I can give permission if I feel like it's timely.
But that's between you and the chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really anything that would have to go through and put on the agenda, at least it would have to put it on there. So
Right.
I'll just talk to her about the new system and I'll make it work. Because if then she gets it before 48 hours, no big deal. She gets it afterwards, she's gonna have to send it to me.
That's
Okay.
consistent. All right, 143 is establishing a parking task force of 9 members. Everybody okay with that?
Good idea.
Now it's gonna be funny if at the first meeting you can't find parking.
Should be riding their bikes. No, they-
Yeah, ooh. Throwing down the gauntlet already. All right, and then the last item is the second reading of local law 6 of 2023, Article 2, conduct of boards and commissions. Everybody good with that one?
Yes.
Get them on board, as it were. All right, that's all that I have. Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Date running is for all of those. 16th.
I do have, speaking of dates, I'll send out an email because our next caucus is Labor Day, so we'll have to make some adjustment. Usually what I do is I'll send out 3 options and then the majority wins.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I just want to check that date, because I don't know what I'm going to be. For what? Yes, I leave on 16th. Thank you for confirming, by the way. It looks like someone.
We do have Sarah who's joining us Wednesday and I put her on Barbara's.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have to make adjustments to everything. But I'm kind of waiting to see what happens in Ward 7. So. Just waiting to see what happened in Ward 6, and then I was waiting to see what happened in Ward 1, and now I'm waiting to see what happened in Ward 7, but by the end of the summer, whatever happens in Ward 7, we'll have to figure it out, because Michael was on all 4 committees,
Right,
so it's a bit of a hit.
all right, but I will be away.
Okay,
16th.
okay, Sarah will be on it by then.
So I'll need someone to cover. The chair.
It's a very light month for all committees.
I'm gonna have trouble in August. I've got a kid getting married, and it's taking up a lot of time.
I understand that. Which son is getting married?
And
I just wanted to bring up about how tomorrow is actually like the anniversary of our passing, the EPCA, the rent freeze going into effect. And so I'm getting calls about people, if they're concerned about they're not getting a lease, and I'm reminding them that they're on a month's month. So I just wanted to remind everyone that that's, what's going, they need to know.
Thank you.
We're also honoring both Michael and Barbara tomorrow at our meeting, just so you know, if you want to say, I'll say a few words. And
They'll both be here.
They told me that they'll both be here. Yeah. Well, we don't have a council recipient or council and board recipient, we felt through last minute.
She needs what is she?
So, no, instead of, yeah, so we're honoring Michael and Barbara anyway, so we'll do that instead. And I'll most likely be canceling public safety this month because we have nothing on the agenda.
So it wasn't because of my performance tonight, was it?
Yeah,
you did well, you did fine.
All right.
I really expected to get it done in 90 seconds and he took 2 full minutes.
I just have one liaison meeting to report out as the water board. So that meeting was on July 12th, and between July 7th and July 1st and July 12th, we had the Cooper Lake received 8.25 inches of water.
Yes.
And if it had never rained again, we would have enough water through October. So we're in a very safe zone. And there's been a 38% reduction in water leakage with all the repairs that they've been doing. And that's really impressive.
That is huge.
So they're really made a lot of progress.
You're gonna have to learn to talk in acre feet.
All right, anything else?
But we'll also have, and actually just sending this to Lisa and Janet now, we'll need the resolution for the handicap sign that we passed at 6:30. So that'll also be added.
Did that go around?
The committee report?
Yes, it is.
That's it, you don't have it? You didn't get that?
We're trying to find the,
Is it in here?
You think it's in there? Good luck.
the law rules or the council and police streets.
Yep, I
Yeah,
haven't gotten that.
okay.
Yeah. Do you have the committee report?
I do not have it.
But you will eventually have it and put it in the majority room?
I cannot predict that I will eventually have it.
Wait, is this in there? 100 Ward Street?
Yeah. I now have it.
All right.
Where's the committee report?
Oh, we need another signature.
Am I on there?
Yeah, I'm on there.
Mine?
Michelle, I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah, how many you get
Are we done? Can I close out?
Yeah.
You guys have a motion?
That's good.
Was there, yeah, is that it here, a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
There we
I
go.
had it made a while ago.
Second, all adjourned?
Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, that's it, it's only 3, is that right?
Thank you, Kwame.
You're welcome. Have a good night, all. Night.